Hello, I'm Hal Ottaway with the Wichita Postcard Club, and it's time once again for a postcard of the week. This week, I'm thrilled to introduce George Eberhart, longtime friend from Chicago. George and his wife, Jennifer Henderson, have been coming to the show off and on for many years, but it's about time they get started again some of these times. But they're both retired now and they have stepped back from all of the publishing that they've done in the past and kind of making some trips and doing some other things too, besides just work, work, work. But George, I wanted to just ask, you're married to a wonderful postcard collector, a long time. She wrote and wrote for several different postcard publications. Please tell us how you got into postcards, as if I don't know.
Well, Jennifer and I got married in 1980. So that's it probably only took about 1982, I'm sorry. And it only took a year or two for her to get me interested in postcards as well. And she just asked me, well, what kind of postcards would you collect? And since I've had a long time interest in parapsychology and UFOs and things like that, I said, well, UFOs, psychic stuff, and haunted houses. So that's how I got interested. And then, of course, I tagged along when she went to postcard shows, and she looked for her recipe things, and I looked for my UFO cards. And, Wichita was a great place to look for those things.
Very good. And you have a background also in library and library science, isn't that correct?
That's right. I have a degree in journalism and a degree in library science. So for a long time, I worked at the American Library Association in Chicago as an editor. So it gave me kind of bookish pleasure to go to work
Sure.
every day.
And you mentioned earlier about this longtime interest in the paranormal.
Right.
How does
Uh,
that fit in?
well, that goes back a long ways to when I was a kid and read some books on the abominable snowman, or Bigfoot, now more frequently called, when I was about 10 years old. And I just got into, I was already interested in science, and I got interested in whether these kind of cryptozoological creatures existed. And then I got into UFOs and psychic stuff and anything that's an anomaly. And I collect anomaly postcards too. Anomalies are events, conditions, behavior, or discoveries that do not conform to scientific or historical paradigms. So try telling that to a postcard dealer when you go and ask for stuff that he's got.
All in the
But
same breath.
right, the postcard I wanted to discuss today is it shows the Menger Hotel in Texas, and it's in San Antonio. It was built in 1859. Jennifer and I have stayed there a couple times because ALA has had conferences in San Antonio, so that was a convenient excuse to get there. It was set up only about 23 years after the Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo itself. Theodore Roosevelt said to have recruited Rough Riders from the bar there. And there are various spirits. There's a maid named Sally White, who's occasionally seen walking around in the halls. The Texas musician Kinky Friedman, you may have heard of him. He stayed there when he was on tour with Bob Dylan, and he had a whole kind of experience with Sally White, the maid, ghost maid. Um, there's also the owner of the King Ranch, Captain Richard King, still turns up in his old room, the King Suite, and usually goes right through the wall, not where the door is now, but where the door used to be way back when. Um, and there's also unseen entities in the kitchen area who kind of help out with the duties in the kitchen room. Utensils float through the air by themselves. There are guests in rooms on the north side that they overlook the Alamo Mission. And sometimes they look out and they see what they describe as reenactors. In other words, a woman in white, Mexican soldiers, campfires with Native Americans, but there's no reenactors there. So it may be a whole kind of spooky diorama that's going on. That's the Menger. Great place to stay, by the way.
Oh my goodness. All of this is coming up this coming Saturday on November 5 at 2 o'clock Central Time. Set your watches and clocks and be here for this exciting and very seasonal uh, presentation. George Eberhart this Saturday, 2 o'clock Central Time, and right here at this Zoom uh, link that you've received in your newsletter. And then if you're not a club member, let me know and we'll be glad to send you the link so you can watch it live. It's always more fun seeing something live. But if you have to miss it or away from home for that afternoon, don't despair. Alan is recording everything and we'll have it edited and online soon thereafter. So thanks, George, for coming today. And we thank everybody and we'll see you this coming Saturday. Bye-bye.